Rapunzel and the Princesses
This is ridiculous. I quit.
versus the Witches. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, on a night when wish lanterns adorned the sky, Rapunzel, Cinderella, the mermaid Aria, and Snow White were all under the ocean lighthouse. Each princess made a wish to make the world better, and the sun rose again. Rapunzel's tiny friend Clapsy woke up before all of the princesses set off to the magical forest to pick sweet cherries. The cherries were such a gorgeous red and so shiny that she couldn't help herself and ate a whole basket.
So delicious.
Then Clapsy noticed a baby deer passing through the trees. The deer had a hurt foot.
Hello, baby dear. What happened to you? Come with me. I know someone who can make you feel better.
Clapsy turned around and started to move forward when something about the baby deer changed. Its eyes turned glowing red, but Clapsy didn't notice the terrifying change and brought the deer to Snow White. Snow White had a magical power to heal animals. When Snow White approached the baby deer to heal its leg, the innocent-looking deer instantly transformed into the evil Queen Hela. When Snow White saw Hela, she was very frightened.
Hela, how did you find me here?
Hela waved her arms magically, and the ground beneath the princess split open, and Snow White fell into the depths of the chasm.
You will rot and grow ugly, Snow White. No one in this world can be as beautiful as I.
Snow White fell straight down into a tunnel and was imprisoned in a dungeon. But up above, the other princesses noticed Snow White's disappearance, and they all set out in search of her.
Snow White! Where are you?
Cinderella was walking in the area where Snow White went missing. She had taken a few steps more when...
Ah!
She fell into the dungeon too. Then the mermaid Aria was sent a seashell by the waves crashing on the shore and listened to it.
What? They took them underground?
The mermaid Aria gave the seashell back to the waves and immediately went to the magic forest. At the same time, Rapunzel and Clapsy had reached the spot where Snow White had disappeared.
Snow White! Where are you?
Where did you go?
Rapunzel! Look! The last time I saw her, she was right here.
And with those words, the ground split again. And just as Rapunzel was about to fall in, Aria, who was racing towards her, realized what was happening and used her arms to force Rapunzel out of the way. Rapunzel hung in a bubble of air and touched back on land. When Aria reached Rapunzel's side, the chasm in the ground was still open, and voices were coming from in it.
Help! Save us!
We can't get out of here. Upon hearing the princesses' voices, Rapunzel let down her hair into the pit to help them. Clinging to her hair, Aria lowered herself down.
We're coming! Don't worry!
Aria, look out! When Aria turned around to look, there she saw Vega and Hela.
Vega! How are you even here?
Apparently you've forgotten my powers, Aria. When Arya least expected it, Vega began to shoot ink from her octopus arms at her. Arya generated a shield around her to protect herself. At the same time, above ground, Rapunzel's baby dragon Drado had eaten so many dragon fruits that he turned into a huge dragon. Seeing this, Rapunzel understood that Drado had gained a lot of power. Drado, help us! Drado stomped his feet on the ground so hard that... What's going on? It's going to cave in on us! Ah! We'll be trapped down here! Realizing this was her chance, Arya used all her strength and pulled open the dungeon bars and got Snow White and Cinderella out of the tunnel. But of course, once topside, the princesses weren't out of the woods yet. In fact, they were right in the middle of the woods. Xenia and Camilla were standing right in front of the princesses.
Broom, sweep, 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 a rock monster to make. Beating these princesses will be a piece of cake.
Camilla's magical broomstick, Broomy, swept up chunks of rock and placed them in front of Camilla. When there were enough rocks, Xenia used her powerful magic to create a giant stone man. The stone man stepped towards the princesses to hurt them. Rapunzel stretched her hair out like a rope and tied together the legs of the stone man. But while the stone man may have fallen, he was not beat. He got back up and began to run. I can't stop him! Mermaid Arya tried to use her power to the stone man in the air and sent him in another direction, but she couldn't.
He's too heavy! I can't lift him!
Next up was Cinderella, who began to call on the aid of all the animals in the forest. Hear me, beasts of the forest! The stone man was just steps away and about to hurt them when, up in the sky, the dragon Drado showed his might. Drado heaved a breath of fire at the stone man. The stone man lost his balance, crashed to the ground, but wasn't injured. When the dragon once again began to blast him with fire, the stone man tore off a piece of his arm and threw it at the dragon. The mermaid Arya took control of the rock chunk and stopped it from hitting the dragon. Drado was enraged by this and snatched the stone man in his claws, flying to the end of a cliff. And he let him go. Falling from a great height, the stone man was smashed into pieces. The dragon Drado could be seen in the hills. The witches were so scared of the power of the princesses and dragon that they immediately turned and ran away.
You can't defeat us when we stick together, witches. We got animals and a dragon and superpowers.
But just a little love could have fixed everything. Then all of the princesses climbed onto Drado's back and flew to the ocean lighthouse. Good had once again triumphed over evil. But what really matters is teaching goodness to evil hearts. Red shoes. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there was a very cute girl named Karen. She lived in a tiny house with her mother and was a very happy girl. She would ask her mother about everything she was curious about.
Mom, what are these tiny lights in the sky?
They are stars, Karen. Everyone who lives on Earth eventually turns into a star. and shines in the sky forever. Karen only had one toy, one dress, and a pair of wooden slippers she wore on the street. The wooden slippers her mother made for her were not very comfortable, but they were the only ones she had. One day, Karen's mother got very sick. So Karen went to town to buy medicine for her mother, and along the way, she found a pair of red shoes in a box on the roadside. The shoes shone so beautifully that Karen couldn't help but bring them home with her.
Look, Mommy, I found these by the roadside. Aren't they beautiful? Just right for me.
These may belong to someone else, Karen. You should immediately take them back.
But if they had an owner, she wouldn't have left them there with the box.
Maybe the owner dropped it accidentally.
Then they shouldn't have dropped it. I found them. They belong to me now. They're mine.
Baby, listen to me carefully. I may not be able to buy you new shoes right now, but I don't want you to wear someone else's shoes just because of that. Please, don't be stubborn. Promise you won't wear these red shoes. Karen sadly promised her mother not to wear red shoes and hid them under her bed. Months passed by until one day Karen came home and couldn't find her mother in the house. She looked all over until she realized that her mother had become a bright star. The next day, on her way to her mother's funeral, Karen put on those red shoes. Those who came to the funeral couldn't take their eyes off Karen's shoes.
How dare she wear red shoes? Disrespectful.
But Karen did not care because she loved her shoes. A good-hearted old woman passed by the cemetery. This old woman learned that this little girl was now an orphan and wanted to adopt her.
Come with me, pretty girl. I will do my best to make you successful and beautiful when you grow up.
So Karen went to live with the old woman for many years.
Karen, you've been wearing these shoes since your mother's funeral. You need to take them off now. They're so dirty.
No, I love my red shoes.
Oh, Karen, don't be so stubborn. Come on, change your shoes. I'll buy better shoes, I promise.
Karen did not want to offend the old woman who had been so kind to adopt her. So she finally took off her red shoes and threw them away. Days passed until one day, Karen was playing in her new room with her new clothes and toys, and the old woman brought her a new pair of shoes. But Karen didn't like these shoes at all.
But these are blue. Very ugly. I don't like them at all.
So for years to come, Karen missed her red shoes a lot. She grew into a beautiful young lady, but her stubborn attitude never changed. Even when the old lady brought her gifts.
I don't want to wear this thing.
But I knit this for you.
I'll never eat this food. Make me French fries.
At least take a little bite, darling.
The old woman was very upset when Karen got up from the table without having a meal. She made French fries for her and took them to her room. At that time, Karen was taking off her blue shoes.
Look, see? All my things are so small now. I've grown up.
Well, come on then. Let's buy you new clothes and shoes.
Then the old woman and Karen went to the store.
Oh, look, just like my favorite red shoes. I must have them. Let's get these.
Karen, you don't need fancy red shoes. You need shoes that you can wear respectfully. Like, if we need to go to a funeral. I can only buy you one pair of shoes. Let's buy those black ones and go home. I am very tired.
I don't care. If you don't buy both shoes, I'll walk barefoot everywhere from now on.
Little girl, I wish you weren't so stubborn.
The old woman bought the black shoes for Karen and spent the last of her money to appease her with the red sparkly shoes, too. They had to walk home on foot. The old woman's feet hurt a lot along the way, and she could not keep up with the spoiled Karen. And Karen didn't care. She walked on home with her new red shoes. One day, the old woman told Karen that they needed to attend a funeral in town.
Karen, be sure to put on your black shoes. Otherwise, it will be disrespectful at the funeral.
Karen looked at the black shoes in her room, and then at the bright red ones. She chose to put on the red shoes. When they left the house, she covered them up with her skirt, so the old woman would not see the shoes. However, at the funeral, everyone saw Karen's shoes, shining brightly under her skirt. They spoke amongst themselves about Karen's red shoes at the funeral and about how disrespectful the shoes were. When what was said came to the old woman's ear, she got very angry.
You didn't listen to what I told you, and you put on the red shoes again. You're so stubborn, Karen. Show some respect.
A handsome young lord passing by at that time was struck by Karen's beauty. He came to her and went down on his knees and gave her compliments.
How beautiful you are, and so delicate in these beautiful shoes.
My lord, you make me blush.
You must be a very good dancer. I invite you to the dance night in the palace tonight. Please come.
With the happiness of the Lord's offer, Karen started dancing with joy. But after a while, Karen couldn't stop dancing.
Why can't I stop my feet? What is happening? Oh!
Karen started walking away from the old lady and the Lord while she was dancing.
Karen, come back.
Even though the Lord chased Karen for a while, he lost her. Karen's red shoes turned out to be more stubborn than Karen. They took her until top of the mountain and made her dance day and night for 3 days. Karen's feet hurt so much that she screamed at every step. Even though they got into the mud and prickly needles stuck, the shoes kept dancing.
Enough! I'm very tired. I won't be so stubborn from now on. I promise. Please stop. Shoes, please stop. Stop.
And when Karen said she'd give up all her stubbornness, the red shoes jumped off her feet, and Karen, too, fell to the ground. And the red shoes kept on dancing without her. Karen found a stick and managed to limp home in pain. Her legs hurt a lot. She started to cry with happiness when she saw her house. The old woman greeted her at the door. They hugged each other. I know I was very stubborn, girl, but I promise I won't be like that anymore. After Karen gave up her stubbornness, things started to get better. One day, someone knocked on the door. It was the young and handsome Lord.
Well, there you are, Karen. I tried to keep up, but you danced so fast. How did you do that?
Karen was glad to see the handsome and young Lord. That was the day the Lord and Karen's love began. leaving stubbornness behind. Karen lived a happy and peaceful life. Cinderella, the Magic Slippers. Once upon a time, in a land far away, there was a beautiful girl named Cinderella. The kind-hearted Princess Cinderella lived together with Prince Leo in a wonderful castle. There was an old lady living in their country who had been working in a bakery for a long time. She baked the most delicious breads. But hardly anyone knew that this old lady, Xenia, was indeed a dangerous magician. Xenia would always go into her magic room in the basement, hidden from everyone else, to prepare different potions for those who ask for her magic. As the days passed, Lady Puffy and her daughters, Cassandra and Jezebel, were still pursuing treacherous plans to take over the magnificent palace.
I'm sure there was some magic involved.
Cassandra mentioned the magician named Xenia, who was secretly preparing potions in her small basement room. On the same day, Cinderella and Prince Leo were planning to organize a ball at the castle. I'm going to wear my glass slippers to the ball. While the preparations for the ball were taking place, Lady Puffy and her daughters were already on their way to the evil magician. They walked along a forest road until they finally saw a sign with some strange letters written on it. As they moved towards the sign, they noticed a tunnel entrance and entered in. In this mysterious tunnel, which was very dark, candles lit up magically as they were passing by. And a little further down the path, an owl appeared in front of them.
Sweet rodents, who are you? What are you doing on this road? Don't you know the password?
Xenia, 1, 2, 3. Pour the potion quickly.
This is ridiculous. That's right. Follow me. I will lead you there. Flapping and flapping. Somebody turn on the owl door for me, thank you. Clockwise. Very good, ladies. Xenia, someone here to see you.
There were a lot of potion bottles around. Boilers, ladles, clamps, different herbs, plants, and tiny bats flying around in the air.
Mommy! This place is so scary. Ah!
In the colorful smoke, Lady Puffy and her daughters waited eagerly for the magician. Finally, Xenia appeared wearing a black hat and raised her hat to show them her face.
Tell me, what spell do you want from me?
Lady Puffy realized that Xenia was actually her sister, who she hadn't seen in years.
But you are my sister. I can't believe my eyes.
Puffy, it's you.
We thought you were lost. You are a magician now?
Yes, now I can have it all. Tell me, why do you need a spell?
The girls told Aunt Xenia that they wanted to take over Cinderella's life. Xenia decided to use a very powerful spell, because her sister and her nieces were involved. At first, she asked for a hair of each girl and put it in a yellow bowl filled with some magical water. Then, she took the footsteps of Cassandra and Jezebel with the help of a basin filled with mud. She took the water, poured it into the footprints, and at that moment, Cinderella's slippers appeared on the wall directly in front of the girls.
Hiccups of horses and the speed of a cat, Cinderella's slippers will cause her to fall flat. At the sound of Puffy's voice, the glass slippers will go, only where she commands them to step to and fro.
My dear, I'll give me a ball and watch how Cinderella will fall. Can play with her like a doll and watch how the magic will flow. Magic is my everything. I can rule the world with it. Magic is my everything. I can capture all that I need. Magic is my everything. I can rule the world with it. Magic is my everything. Magic is my everything.
Finally, it was the night of the ball. Cinderella put on her favorite dress with her precious glass slippers and went to the ballroom. Lady Puffy and her daughters watched Cinderella secretly from a corner of the ball. All right, magic slippers, let Cinderella stumble. When Cinderella suddenly fell to the ground. Of course, she couldn't understand what was going on. She stood up quickly, but her feet would not stop moving, and she kicked the ball guests as they ran around the hall.
Oh, no! What is happening to me?
Cinderella ran back and forth, to the right and to the left. Neither the prince nor the ball guests could stop her. Finally, she came out of the ballroom and ran down the castle's stairs, but still couldn't control her feet. In the meantime, Lady Puffy and her daughters watched Cinderella and giggled.
Princess Cinderella is leaving the castle.
Whoa, look at her go. Hey, I wonder where she's going.
Oh, the princess is leaving.
What happened to Princess Cinderella? Those shoes.
Cinderella quickly ran away from the castle.
Get lost in distant lands, Cinderella.
When all this happened, Cinderella's little friends, Mozzarella and Cheddar, asked Fairy Leabelle for help under a hazelnut tree.
Leabelle, come here, wherever you are. We need your help.
Leabelle suddenly appeared in front of Mozzarella and Cheddar and flew straight to where Cinderella was. The magic glass slippers changed their color and turned red. Leabelle waved her magic wand to Cinderella's shoes, but it did not help.
Slippers of speed, not meant to be comfy. Stop when your path gets muddy and bumpy.
The fairy's magic phrases created a swamp on the road. The glass shoes got stuck in the magic swamp, and they stopped. But unfortunately, Cinderella began to sink into the swamp too.
Help! Leabelle, I'm sinking!
Leabelle waved her wand 3 times, and wings grew out of Cinderella's shoulders. Cinderella used the new wings to escape the swamp.
Mirabelle! You saved my life, but I will never be able to see my glass slippers again.
The glass slippers were bewitched, Cinderella. Hurry, let's go back to the castle.
Fairy Liabelle gave Cinderella new shoes, and they went back to the castle together. Cinderella was very happy to meet Prince Leo and her little friends again. When Lady Puffy and her daughters realized that their evil plan had failed, they left the ball immediately.
Ah! The good ones always win. I hate it.
Cinderella and her loved ones always stay happy. The owl watched everything and told the magician Xenia,
Hey, Xenia, listen. The soothing did not work.
No! This can't be happening. How can they defeat a magician like me? Nobody can do that.
Whoa, calm down, woman.